What's going on, everybody? Brett Parker, Urban Accountant here. Few changes today. I know we scheduled to talk about S corps, but I'm switching gears a little bit. I had a lot of calls over the last 2 days. People speaking about they have their business set up, but the issue that they're having is that fear of what should I do next? How do I go about actually operating the business? So today, I'm going to actually cover some ways to deal with the fear, how to get over the fear. I'll tell a few stories of how I dealt with it, how I came over it. But first, let me just introduce myself to those that may have not joined us here. We come here every Wednesday around 12:30, depending upon schedule. My name is Brett Parker, known as the Urban Accountant. Senior advisor over at Parker Financial Services. I've been in the tax accounting business world for 10 plus years. I'm a certified financial coach. I'm a certified business coach, and I also hold a master's degree in accounting. Over the course of the years, I've dealt with a lot of people, a lot of clients that were starting businesses, looking to start a business, selling business. So, I've been around for a while. Um, but the main thing a lot of entrepreneurs face is fear. Whether you're leaving a job or starting your own business, taking over a business for someone, that level of fear is there. And I just want to be clear that this fear that we're talking about is just not with business owners. It may be moving to another career, taking a new job in a career, an advancement in the career, relocating to another city or state with your family, doing something different with your family, whether it be handling your finances better, saving for money, cutting back on spending. So that fear is always going to be there no matter, what area, you're in. And being an entrepreneur, you come across those fears in different areas in life. It's definitely a major commitment to, starting a business. I can attest to a story. When I kind of went full time with my business, we had just purchased a home. And I had a great career, great job, uh, but certain things didn't work out, and I ventured off and started my own. Went full time with my business, and a lot of people looked at me like I was crazy. Like, dude, you just got a mortgage. You got a family. People depend upon you. So that outside pressure from people can sometimes build fear, but you have to have the mindset and the faith in self to push through of what the outside noise is bringing in. So that outside pressure can cause a lot of fear. But needless to say, I stuck with it. Was business always great? No. I had some ups, I had some downs. Some days I did want to go back to the corporate sector, but in my mind, I had come so far in creating the brand, creating the business, building relationships with clients. I just couldn't really go back. So that's where the fear actually worked in the positive for me, where I feared leaving what I started. So that's the thing. Like, fear can be used in a negative light, and fear can be used in a positive light. So that's one instance where I use the fear of not applying myself to my full potential. Like, I know I had more um, in me than I was given at the company I worked for. So I used that fear of not reaching my full potential to go out and venture out on my own. I also use that same fear not to go back to work, to push through those, long days, the broke days. I speak to a lot of people about, I fear that, if I start my business, I'm not going to have money. And we'll talk about it a little bit more in depth today. But I'm a more of a well, what if it does work? Like, what if you fear not having enough money, but what if you cut that fear out and just use that same energy to generate? more revenue for yourself that, puts you in a better place to take care of your family. So I think that's going to lead us into, my first topic. And I kind of touched on it, but like changing the perspective, fear is really nothing but the unknown, not knowing what's coming in the future. So like we're afraid of something that we don't know. But the good thing for me, and when I speak with clients in our one-on-one sessions or our group calls that we have, just changing their perspective of attacking what you don't know. Like don't be afraid of failure. Failure is part of business. You're going to try some things. Some things are going to work. Some things aren't going to work. And I define fear as acceptance. I'll say it's a failure when I accept, like I give up. Like, if you just stop, okay, now if you want to call it fail, you fail. But if you still have the opportunity to get up, go out, try it, um, it's all trial and error. Business is all trial and error. Like I said, some things are going to work, some things aren't. Some things are going to work better than what you imagine. So that perception of what you consider fear, you can look up. We can go with the actual definition of fear. Um, I personally am a person that you decide what you want fear to look like, feel like, smell like, and everything. But fear, they're describing fear as an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely caused by pain and or a threat. So these are all things that we are perceiving to happen that actually hasn't happened yet. So like we're afraid and we fear something that we don't know. And I think a lot of times in business, when you start operating on the positive energy vibes of I am going to be successful. My business or my career or me being a family person or me being a better friend or me being better financially and me being more responsible, I am going to do better because I have what it takes to do better. So when you start operating in that positive light and filling yourself with the positive vibes, things start to change. And I had to when I changed the perception of what I felt fear was. I noticed that I started making more decisions on my own because some of the people that I were talking to, some of the people that were around me, they're not with you 24/7. They're not in your head. They don't really understand your passion for whatever like that you're trying to accomplish. Like I said, that can be on business, starting a new career, going back to school, finishing school, hitting your debt head on, which is a class we'll talk about later down the line, being financially, changing your financial practices, changing how you operate on a daily. Um, when I started changing those things, I just got better in life. Like overall, life just got like better. For me, business got better. My personal life got better. Like I became a happier person. Let's go into number two, um, which is big. Practice making decisions and sticking to it. That helps alleviate the fear. I'm a big proponent in telling people like when you implement something new in life or business, you got to stick to it for 90 days. Like whether it's working, if it isn't working, like you got to finish out the 90 days. Um, and a lot of people say it takes 90 days to build a habit. Whatever, however you want to put it. But from a data analytical point, that gives us a nice view of what's going on. So, I struggle with that. I'll be honest, I still struggle with it a little bit. I'm getting better at it. But creating a plan and coming up with a decision and sticking to it, no matter what happens, will help you deal with fear. When I talk to a lot of my clients about sales, and when I do my sales training, no is going to happen. The answer is no, I'm okay. Your product stinks. I don't want it. If you're going to an interview, you may go through 10 interviews and don't get the job. But if you really look at it and take it all in, what you start to notice is you start to be, you handle no better. You understand, all right, I struck out that time, I'll go harder. But if you're really chasing that true success in whatever your goal is, you start to go back and you start coaching yourself. All right, well, I did this the first time and they said no, and I did this the second time they said no. So let me try this. Let me try a little something different. So you start to become being able to handle the rejection better. So you start overcoming that fear of hearing no. All right, they said no, keep it pushing. So that's to me when I try to make a decision. Like I said, I still struggle with it, trying to get better with it. But I think what happened was instead of making decisions rather quickly, if you really plan it out and you make sure okay, this is the best decision for my business or my life, it's easier to stick to it. And then when you start operating with a plan and decisions, it kind of helps eliminate the fear of the unknown, because you've planned and you're sticking to the decision and you know the direction that you're going. So practice making decisions and sticking to it. It's definitely going to help alleviate the fear. You're just not out there roaming around. You're operating with a purpose. So that's the key with that one. Um, a biggie for me, um, you'll get some people that get confidence and cockiness confused, but you have to be confident in you before you expect someone else to be confident in you. Like if you're not confident, you can't expect a client or an employer, a family, a spouse, a son, a daughter, a friend to have confidence in you. So operating in confidence is key to getting rid of fear. And that, with me, when I first started the business 10 plus years ago, I wasn't that confident. I thought I was good, but I never was. I felt like I didn't want to seem cocky and conceited, um, until I really started to hone in and think back. Like I don't have to boast and brag to be confident, but I felt more committed. I felt strong. I felt like the reaction I got from my clients and people that I work with, it helped me build the confidence. It helped me stretch out more in business. It helped me venture out and take on clients that I was, afraid, like, oh, maybe my business is too small to deal with them. That confidence just built up in me, and the fear of they wouldn't work with me. Like, no, I know what I bring to the table. I know I can handle it, and I know I can meet the requirements of this client. Recently, I just completed my master's degree, and I just think back to, I'll be honest, I wasn't a person in the beginning that was big on school. I just didn't like it. So, my confidence in completing school was a little shaky until, I completed my associate's degree first, and I got confidence. I said, you know what, I can do this school thing. If I apply myself, I plan, I stay disciplined and dedicated, I can do it. So I started out, I completed the associate's degree, then I continued on, I pushed through, got the bachelor's degree, and like I said, recently I just acquired my master's degree, and I'm actually enrolled to take my doctorate. So, you know, I'm a firm believer that, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I think when you start to operate that way, that confidence starts to rub off on those that surround you. So, I tell everybody, before you pat someone else on the back, pat yourself on the back. Be confident in what you do. Uh, Operate like an expert. Whether you're new at it or not. And when I say operate as an expert, I want to be clear. I'm not saying fake it, but I'm just saying operate in confidence. Like, if you're a chef and you're making a dish that you don't know, don't go at it with a mindset of fear. Go at it as a mindset like, I'm going to give it my all. And in the end, long as you give it your all, that's all you can really ask of yourself. And I think that's the true confidence when you operate in a field that I know that I'm giving it my best, and I hope that my best is good enough for you. And if it isn't, I'll confidently say, okay, I'm sorry I didn't meet your expectations. What can we do better to actually meet the expectations? So, just a recap before we go on to the next two. Like I said, I try not to keep you guys long here. Changing your perspective on what you consider fear. Let's not focus on what we don't know and focus on what we do know. And what we're talking about focusing on what we do know is anything that you want to achieve is possible. So let's change that perspective of what fear is. Let's eliminate the what if it doesn't go good and start thinking in the right of what if it does go well. We covered practice making decisions and sticking to it. I think when you operate with a plan, I suggest that you commit to whatever decision you make, commit to, working that plan for at least 90 days and really diving into the data that you get and the results that you get over those 90 days to come up to see if it really works or not. And I think with that, when you find a decision and you stick to it, like I said, it's planned. You know the direction you want to move and you know where you want to go. It kind of eliminates the fear. It's like if you get in the car and you're driving west and you got a good GPS, it's charged, it's top of the line. That decision to go west, you're more confident in it versus just jumping in the car and saying, I'm gonna go to California. I don't have a GPS. I don't have anything. Granted, some may enjoy that unknown. Some people don't have the fear of the unknown. But I think for the common person, you'll be more confident in your journey, knowing my car is good, it's reliable, I got a good GPS, I'm not afraid of the highway. So you're operating with uh, a sense of confidence because you've made that decision and you're sticking to it and you've planned it. And three, we talked about confidence. We're back at confidence where, let's not confuse conceited and cockiness with confidence, but um, knowing what's within you and operating with the confidence to know that I take pride in what I do, I know what I'm doing, will help you eliminate that fear of am I good enough? Am I not good enough? Will they accept me? Will they not accept me? When you operate with confidence, you're okay with whether the result is what you wanted or it's not what you wanted. It's not what you expected. Um, and then next, we're going to say give yourself time to make decisions, but also be decisive when need be. And I'll start from a business side. Sometimes, cutting the product out or letting the person go or separating yourself from, partnership. You and someone may have started a business and was in the planning stage, it looked good. We're going to make a lot of money, we're going to be successful. And then you get into it and it's not working. And I get a lot of fear of, well, I don't want to offend this person or I'm afraid to go out on my own. And I always tell them, I say, get a piece of paper, write down the pros and cons, take your time with making that decision, but be confident, be decisive in that decision. So, like I said, I try to teach from levels of examples. As the business grew, I had to make the decision of hiring more employees, increasing pricing, um, being more committed, more time, more commitment, taking on additional costs. And, I didn't just jump out and do it. I took time, I sat back, I figured, I ran the numbers. I said, okay, how does this work? How is it going to be good? Throughout that time, I've hired some people, I've had to let some people go, had to let some clients go, had to let some products go, but I gave myself time to process that. What I would advise people to do is, if you can, quarterly, um, monthly, weekly, however works for you, give yourself some you time, some hours for you to process decisions that you may have to make. And be okay that, if your time is Sunday, you might have to miss the football game. But be okay with that, because you need that time to make these key decisions that you're required to make throughout life, personally and business, career wise. So, like, give your time yourself the time to make sure you're making the right decision, and be okay accepting that even if you gave yourself the time and you make that decision, it may not work out, but be okay with that, and then you go back to the drawing board and say, okay, that part worked, this part didn't. We're going to keep this, we're going to swap that out, and then you get back out there and you try it again. And the last thing, we're talking about overcoming fear to be successful. Um, be okay accepting that fear is natural. When I don't care how strong, how confident you are, we're talking about overcoming fear. We're not talking about erasing fear. It's all about, how do you deal, like, what are your keys, what are your steps to dealing with fear? And that's what we're kind of trying to tackle now. Like, operating fearless and being fearless, you know, the jury's still out on that one, but accept that fear is natural. Like, hey, I'm afraid, but these are my skills, these are my tools on how I deal with fear, how I overcome fear. And that I call that having those tools in the toolbox. A mechanic, things are going to break, but he has the knowledge and the tools to repair it. So those are the things that we're covering today. Like I said, number one, change your perspective of fear. Put that in your toolbox. That's in your toolbox to deal with fear when those fearful things come up, where it's time to go for a review at a job that you're at for a better position that's going to better your family. Okay, what are my tools to make sure that when I go in, I can deal with the fear of the new, the fear of rejection. So put those five things in your toolbox, and I'll give them to you again. We want to change our perspective of what fear is. We want to practice making decisions and sticking to it. We want to be more confident in ourselves. We want to give ourselves time to make decisions and be decisive when we make those, when need to be. And last but not least, let's accept that fear is real. Um, and we just want you to be able to deal with it better. I want to see everybody win. Like I said, my name is Brett Parker at Urban Accounting. You got any additional questions, you can put them in the comments. You can drop them in the DM. You can shoot us an email. We're just here to help. This brand, this rebranding of the business, and I'll go a little into this, is being in business for 10 plus years and seeing people waste money, see money skip over the community. see people stay on the sideline when they really should be in the game. Um, it's our I've made it my team. It's our responsibility to empower the people, and in this area, in this arena of finance, that's my calling. Um, that's my responsibility, and that's my task to empower as many people that want to be empowered to create financial wealth, have an abundance of financial literacy, be able to provide more for their family, overall be happy, whether that's starting a business, whether that's um, advancing your career. That's our overall goal here at Parker Financial, and that's my personal goal as the urban accountant. So I'm gonna let you guys get back to your day. Um, I see you guys next week. I promise next week we'll cover, the S corp thing. But like I said, the overwhelming number of calls, text messages that I received, since Sunday about the fear of getting out there and doing your own thing. Um, I made the executive decision to switch the topic to uh, not letting fear stop you from being successful in whatever you want to do. Like I said, I'll see you guys here next week, 12:30. You can see this on Instagram, Facebook, and I believe on YouTube. Whenever you want to see it, like I said, I'll see you guys next week. Go out, be great, love yourself first, accept your failures, embrace your successes. Yesterday is gone, today is here now. Tomorrow is dependent upon the work we put in a day. Brett Parker, Urban Accounting. I'm out. Yo, yo, yo. Thank you. How you feeling? What's up? What happened? Uh-huh.